Hi everyone, welcome back to Love and Life Sorted. I'm Dr. Sandy Toe, and today we're going to be talking about manifestation don'ts. Yeah, so June is the month of manifestation because it is the month that I officially got together as a couple with my husband. Yeah, so I had met my husband the month before. I was introduced to my husband in May, uh, right after I published my book. And we came out together as a group. And after some back and forth, like we met up by ourselves. And in June, that was the month that we officially became a couple. Yeah, and it's also my husband's birthday. So happy birthday, Justin. This episode is more or less dedicated to you. Although it's really not that relevant to him because it's about the don'ts of manifestation, not really about the do's. My husband's birthday in the month of June, end of June. Yeah, he's a Cancer, so his birthday is actually towards the end of June, right? Because it played a significant role in our getting together, actually, because it was right after we got together. We celebrated his birthday together. Like, I celebrated with him, and so it was very significant for both of us. It was like such a tremendously special occasion for for us both, and yeah, I still remember it vividly. And I think it really cemented our relationship at that time, like his birthday. So hence, this significant occasion 11 years ago warrants special attention. Yes, warrants some dedication to in this episode. Yeah, like a special shout out. Yeah, so next week we will focus on the do's. But this week, I'm really intense on focusing on something that I'm really, really passionately against in the matter of don'ts when you're doing manifestation, and that is taking yourself out on a solo date. That is an absolute no-no if your goal is to find a partner. So yeah, okay, this trend nowadays of taking yourself out on a solo date. I don't know if it's just me, but I constantly see videos of this, reels of this on IG. And I know probably it's because, if I watched one of these, then it'll keep showing me others, right? That's how the algorithm works on IG. And I don't know if you encountered the same thing, but I, for one, have watched many of these. And for me, it's like a dominating trend in my feed. And I really need to point out that it's really not conducive if your goal is to find a partner, because this is the complete opposite of what I told you to do to attract a partner, right? So basically, like, taking yourself on a solo date is telling the universe that you want to be alone, that you want to be single, right? So taking yourself out on a solo date, right? So effectively, it just means not going out on a date with someone, and you are sufficient enough to go out on your own as a single person, right? So this is like the exact opposite of finding a partner to do these things with you. Yeah, so, unless your goal is not to find a partner, it is actually to like lead a singles life. Like you don't need a partner in your life, then that's completely fine. Like do all of it you want. That's the thing you should do, satisfy yourself without needing someone to satisfy you, being like super self-sufficient and enjoying life on your own. So that's like completely what you should do if your goal is to be single and not finding a partner, right? But if your goal is to manifest a partner, then this is completely the opposite of what you should be doing. So I remember previously in one of my reels, I had told you that one of the main no-nos, don'ts of manifesting a partner is to be doing things that tell the universe that you are happy doing things alone. Okay, I know that this really goes against like this self-empowerment thing, right? So we should actually be complete by ourselves, and we're like self-sufficient, high-achieving individuals, men or women, right? Like we don't need someone to complete us. But it's a different story if you're trying to manifest another person into your life to do these activities with, right? So what is the use of a partner if not to like go with you to enjoy life, to enjoy your fabulous life together, to have nice dinners with, to have someone to like watch a movie with, have someone to sit on the couch with, have someone to cuddle with. Like that's the whole point of having a partner, to go through life's ups and downs, right? If you are telling the universe the complete opposite, that you are happy and like completely content doing these things alone, then it's just telling the universe not to give you a partner. You see what I mean? So that is why I'm so adamantly against this taking yourself out on a solo date. Yeah, I previously mentioned how like one of the don'ts is to like go out to a restaurant and sit in like a singles booth, because there are some restaurants that where they have these booths that are for one person only, and you're like sitting there facing a wall. So it's not like a booth where it's like a table with two seats sitting across from each other. Like it's not that type of booth, but it's a booth that's facing the wall. You see what I mean? So that's like very like that gives a strong impact that you are resolutely dining alone. You see what I mean? There's nothing wrong with dining alone per se, because sometimes we do have to do things alone. Like our partner's not there 24/7. You don't need basically someone to accompany you to every single thing. And sometimes like you're at work and you go have lunch alone, or sometimes you just need to do things yourself, right? So that's perfectly fine. Except, those sort of singles booths facing the wall, they are just really symbolic of something that you don't want. You see what I mean? It's not just sitting like in a regular table alone. It's like sitting facing the wall alone. So it is actually quite sad, come to think of it. I, for one, have never sat in those seats before. Even when I was single, I never chose those seats facing the wall. It's like very claustrophobic for me. I don't know about you, but I being an introvert, I am an introvert. I'm very private. I don't need to talk to like strangers or anything, but I still think those booth seats, like where you're facing the wall alone, like those are very claustrophobic for me. I would not want to be dining in those, like completely shielded against the world, completely shielded off from the world. That's like too much for me even. Yeah, I think I would actually enjoy, like even if I'm sitting alone having a meal, I would like to do some people watching. I would like to see what's going on around me and not just like glued to my phone and sitting there with a bowl of noodles. That's just me, right? If I wanted to do that, I probably would have gotten takeaway and had it at home, right? So the whole point, I think, of dining outside is to have a look at other people, like see what other people are doing, maybe listen on to some conversation or something. Like that's how I get my inspiration. So I I really don't think those booths are doing people any justice, for people who actually want to give off the signal that they don't want to be alone, right? Okay, but anyhow, yeah, I mean, like there is this famous ramen place. If you live in Asia, there's a famous ramen place that has these booths facing the wall alone. And by booth, I don't mean just facing wall, but there are two walls that are in between you and the other person there. So basically you're sitting in a telephone booth, right? So completely out of sight of anyone. Yeah, so that is like a bit extreme. And it's a place that I can never take my son because he would never want to be sitting in a booth next to me and not looking at each other. And I not being able to take care of him in that regard, right? So, and I would never frequent that place with my husband as well. Like I would not want to be sitting like next to him but not seeing him. So it's like a really weird vibe. Yeah. I don't know about you, but like okay. The exception is if you are actually catching up on some work. Yeah, you're like flipping through your laptop. You need to get something done, before like an urgent meeting or something. Then, yeah, maybe those booths like completely shielded off from the world. They're good for you for concentrating. It's like sitting in a library with a bowl of noodles. And that's completely serves the purpose, right? If it were that situation. But other than that, nah, I don't think so. Yeah. So especially if you're single right now and you are wanting to manifest a partner, no, like those singles booths are a complete no-no. Okay. So for the signal it gives off. Right. Okay. I would say that like taking yourself out on a solo date, like this trend going on in the internet, is even worse than sitting in a singles booth because like you're actually basically telling the universe that well, I'm just really happy dating myself, right? So what do you think that gives off? Like what kind of signal does that give off, right? Because like the whole point of manifestation is to be able to attract something like with your thoughts, feelings, and actions, attract the wish that you want, right? Like so basically like more and more like the way you feel, think, and act is going to attract the reality that you want gradually, like step by step, right? So if you are like think of it that way, if you're giving off the vibe, the whole energy, the whole signal that well, you're happy dating yourself, then that means like you don't need a date, right? Okay, so like give you some concrete examples. Yeah, so I mean, taking yourself out on a solo date may not just be a meal, but I know someone I've known someone for 10 years, a girl, and I've known her since her 20s unto her 30s. I'd say like mid 20s to mid 30s, or even late 20s to late 30s. Like throughout these 10 years, like she's sort of renowned for doing these things, for taking herself out on solo dates. Even before the internet blew up with this phenomenon, like she was someone who did this all the time. Not like, I mean, not eating alone, but traveling alone. Yeah, that was her thing. Was like she always traveled alone, and she took like major pride in that. Yeah, she would post all these pictures all the time of her going to like all over the world, really, like even to remote countries or anything, really exotic places. Like she would go alone. Sometimes she would join tours. Like those tours were maybe just your regular family tours, and she would be the only one single there. And like if she were to choose a place that was really remote, and it would not be safe doing it alone completely. But other than that, like she would go to these places for like very near her, like maybe 2 hours away, like fly 2 hours away. She would like to those single trips by herself all the time, frequenting the same places alone, and then posting all these pictures and showing people how empowering it is and how she's so independent and how she's enjoying life despite not having a partner. And the thing is that I've witnessed this for 10 years and more, probably, seeing these pictures online of her. And throughout this whole entire time, she has really not found a partner. She has been alone. Yeah, well, but knowing that it wasn't her wish, like I would know, even though she doesn't keep advertising that she wants to do it alone like forever, but I would get the feeling that she does want to find someone if the opportunity came. But the thing is that she keeps doing something that is the opposite of that. You see what I mean? So like I've witnessed this throughout the 10 years, and well, the fact is that she had never found someone. Yeah, so, from experience, I would think that this example is a bit telling. And another thing that this girl does, yeah, really, I'm not trying to pinpoint anyone, but it is the truth that it's probably the only case study that I've done that's so, like, sort of in my face that I could monitor the progress of for the last 10 years. Because, like, no one actually did this as much as she did. Okay, so another thing that she does is like a really telling sign. Maybe a counter example for you not to do is like every birthday or every milestone. Like, it's not that she doesn't have friends to celebrate with. Like, she does have a lot of friends though. Except, well, she would always say that, no one's free. I have the most flexible job, so that's why, I'm gonna go travel myself. I'm not gonna wait for anyone to do this with. Like, my friends are all busy, right? So, regarding the celebration thing, like, she does have some post some pictures of her and her friends celebrating her birthday and stuff. But she also has some solo pictures of taking a picture of like a cake or a cupcake or something at work, probably. And then just saying that, happy birthday to me. It just gives off the vibe that you are pining for like companionship, but you're not having it, and hence this is what you are resigned to do for yourself. Like that's what those messages are, like those captions and stuff. Yeah, it's one thing to be single and celebrating your birthday, with friends. Yeah, we'd call celebrating if it's with some people, right? So if you're by yourself, I don't think that's called celebrating. Yeah, well, it's called, making yourself happy or something, but basically probably not celebrating like on your own or something. Yeah, so the key is not to give out the vibe that you are resigned to being single and to write these notes or posts that are a bit dark about single life. Yeah, so instead of being resigned about being single, like have a more anticipatory attitude toward a new relationship to come. Yeah, so that's the attitude to have. So, I have all respect for showing like self-empowerment. Like there's it's a way taking yourself out on a solo date. It's a way of showing like how self-sufficient you are, so empowering it is to like even not be in the company of someone. You can still enjoy life alone, and life is too short. You're not waiting for someone to fulfill you, sort of thing. But there are other ways to show it, like your achievements, your concrete achievements, like your work, your job, your career, your credentials, your fabulous friends, right? So many things to show for it, your concrete achievements. Like it doesn't need to be, proving to the world that you can go it alone to show how like achieved you are, right? And some people are doing this to overcome a bad relationship or a bad breakup. They want to show the world, show the internet, or show their ex that they have moved on without them really well. Like they don't need them in their lives anymore, and it's very empowering to do that. I know, but the thing is, you don't have to take yourself out on a solo date to show that. There are other ways to show that, such as I would recommend writing yourself a congratulations card or a thank you card. To thank yourself or congratulating yourself that you got rid of a scumbag, and you're moving on to a next stage and congratulating yourself. It's like so it is a very good exercise, actually. It's telling the universe, first of all, that, so first of all, it's empowering because you have gotten through this yourself. Yeah, no matter how painful it was, you've been through it all and you've survived it. And now you're ready to move on to a new stage in life, and you're telling the universe that please give me a partner because I've gotten rid of the old one, like the bad one, right? So I'm ready for a new relationship, like my soulmate, like someone that is suitable for me. So yeah, write it down, like write a congratulations card to yourself and thank you for loving yourself too, because first of all, like you have to re-love yourself if someone didn't love you enough. like you're the one who steps in and gives more loving to yourself. And after that, you are going to find someone who will give you the love you need, right? So, yeah, that's very empowering too, to write a card to yourself. Yeah, so do that instead of taking yourself out on a solo date. And okay, for extroverts, I know that you're like you're just writing something to yourself privately is not enough, and you want to show it to the world that you're over this like bad breakup and you're ready to move on and you're really happy by yourself, right? But taking yourself out on a solo date is still not the way to go. So I would advise, why don't you go all in? Go all in and throw yourself a breakup party. It's exactly how like divorced people, like some people I know, they throw themselves divorced parties. Yeah, it's like bachelorette parties or bachelor parties. Like they throw themselves a divorce party to celebrate that the bad marriage is over. They've like finally overcome the bad marriage. They've gotten out of it, right? Unscathed. They've been through it all, been through the pain and survived, right? And now they're ready to move on in their life. So whether it is to find another person or to like live a better life or to take better care of their kids or something, well, they've moved on, right? So it's very empowering too. If you want to you're more extroverted, you have a lot of friends to show this to, that you are gotten over your bad breakup, then this is the way to go, rather than taking yourself out on a solo date. Yeah, so basically this tells the universe that you have completed a major stage in your life and you are ready to find someone in your next stage. Because remember I said one key thing about manifestation is that a lot of people have asked, when will I find my partner? Like how long does it take to manifest my partner? So yeah, it varies obviously for people, like different people. But the thing is, like, one key aspect that I saw was that once you completed a milestone, whether it's like, I don't know, graduating from school, attaining a degree, finishing writing a book, or moving house, moving countries, or even maybe finished renovating your room or something, or I don't know, completing like a course, or changing jobs, or like you've discovered a new recipe or something. Like something that, big or small. It doesn't need to be like a major milestone, but like you've completed something like in your life stage. And that is the time that like the universe will send you a partner because you're ready to move on to the next. Yeah, so it's the same thing as like throwing one of these parties, whether it's like breakup party or something, or divorce party. It's like telling the universe that you're through with this, like giving a very clear signal that you're done with the stage and ready to move on to the next. So that gives it such a much more powerful signal than the very nebulous and murky signal that you're taking yourself out on a solo date. So what does that mean? It just means that you're just perpetually wanting to do that. Even when some people say, okay, well, I'm just going through a breakup and that's why I want to do this. It's like not going to be permanent. It's just like going to be a very transitional state, right? Like until I get over the breakup, it's for myself, right? But the thing is, the universe doesn't know. It doesn't know like if it's transitional or permanent or what. It just hears how you're saying, well, I'm happy being alone and I'm happy dating myself. I don't need a partner. Okay, so that's all it hears. Remember. Yeah, so the key to manifestation is to give very clear signals to the universe, not mixed signals, because that is not the way that it will succeed. Okay, so in order to succeed in manifesting a partner, you need to give a very, very clear signal to the universe that you want to find a partner. Okay, so regardless of whether or not like you're happy being alone, it's not important. Okay, the important thing is that you would be probably much, much more fulfilled and happy if you found a partner. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're okay alone or not alone, but the thing is, like, you will be much, much more fulfilled and in fulfilling your goal of finding a partner. So that is the message you always want to convey. Yeah, so you know what? There are different forms of solo dates, like taking yourself out. It can be, having a nice meal or going to watch a movie alone, so many different varieties of this going out on a solo date or traveling alone, right? So, yeah, I'm telling you not to do this because for myself, I have an example of myself. Okay, so besides like the person that I said, the girl who had taken herself traveling for the last 10 years, had never found a partner. Well, me myself, during my university days, when I was in university, there was one thing that I always did, and that was going to watch a movie alone. Yeah, because basically because my schedule, like my course schedule, is very flexible. Like I can schedule probably everything in the morning, and then I had like the afternoon like free of classes, and so I would go off and watch a movie alone by myself. Okay, and well, there was nothing wrong with that at that time. Obviously, like people do this all the time, right? But I can tell you something from experience was that during my whole entire 4 years of university. Oh, back then it was 3 years. Yeah, during my whole entire 3 years of university, I never got one date. Okay, so is that also a telling sign? It is like. In retrospect, I never thought about this until now after I talked about the girl who took herself traveling for 10 years. So during these 3 years that I went to watch a movie alone, and I think it was like discount Tuesdays or something. So I chose one day that there was like a significant discount on the tickets, and took myself out to watch a movie alone. And once I even bumped into like a friend who was on a date. Yeah, that was interesting. Okay, and I wasn't embarrassed or anything, but it was like well, okay, so that's that. But the thing is, I want to tell you, looking back, was that during these 3 years, I never got a date during university. Okay, so I hope this sends a message. Yeah. Okay. So what can we do? um, in replacement of taking yourself out on a solo date. If, say, I am single and I still want to enjoy life, right? So I don't want to be cooped up at home, like even if I don't have a partner, right? So I still am very entitled to go out and enjoy my life, right? So I'm not definitely not against us doing that, right? So okay, so I've thought of some things that you could do while not giving the wrong message to the universe. Okay, so next time you go dine alone in a restaurant, in a cafe, you can ask for another cup. Yeah, so it's either, if the water is for free, ask for another cup. It's perfectly legit to do that. Like, first of all, say you need two, cups of water. Like, you're really thirsty, and I don't think the waiter or the waitress will mind. Like, if it's the water's for free, you can either go and pour yourself 2 cups of water and put it on the table, or you ask for another cup. I'm sure that it'll be fine. Okay, so how come I know that this is possible? It's because I still do that. Sometimes I ask for an empty cup because sometimes, especially traveling in Japan, they always serve iced water no matter the weather. Even if it's like minus like 3 degrees outside, they still serve iced water. And so that is my practice. Even if I'm traveling with my family, my husband, my son, or anything, I still get like an empty cup, and then I put my ice into that cup. Yeah, so I would spoon the ice into the empty cup, and I would drink just like the water without ice. So that is my normal practice. So that's how I know that it's like quite legit in most places, I think, to have an extra cup, to ask for an extra cup. Yeah, so you know what? It does send a powerful message that there's someone with you, like you have a partner dining with you, right? So someone's sitting there like with you or something. So yeah, it gives a nice signal like that. And also, well, if you're in a place that doesn't give extra cups of water or something, why don't you order 2 drinks? It's just like Dakota Johnson's character, Lucy, in The Materialist, if you watch the movie. So she orders a Coke and a beer. Yeah, so some people do that. Like sometimes, like I remember my aunt, she orders with her coffee, it's always like a coffee and a Coke. Yeah, so you can perfectly, order two drinks. Yeah, so it also sends a powerful message that, well, you're not dining alone. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, so that's all I'm asking you to do is order two drinks. I'm not asking you to order two plates of food because it's perfectly fine to be sharing a plate of food. Maybe you can ask for an extra plate and, it's like giving the message that you're sharing a plate of food. So that's, those are the things that you could do to overcome the going on a solo date sort of signal. So if you are dining alone, it's perfectly legit. Doesn't mean you can't go off and enjoy a good meal by yourself, except doing these little things can change your whole perspective, can change the whole energy. Okay, so like, must I emphasize again, don't sit in a singles booth. Okay, so I think the ramen place that I was talking about, the famous one with those booths, I think it has open areas. I've shown a picture of that in one of my reels on IG. Like, but instead of dining in a booth, ask for a table, even if it's sitting with strangers. Like, ask for one of those round tables where you can just sit there and people watch. Yeah, it's much, much more conducive than sitting in an enclosed booth. Okay, remember that. Right. Okay. And if you want to go watch a movie and there's no one to watch it with, and sometimes we just don't want to watch it with someone, watching a movie, you just want to watch it alone, it's perfectly fine. But I would urge you not to do what I did in university, not probably going to the theater or cinema alone. Why don't you just get Netflix at home? Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, I have all of those at home. I'm talking about like now. These are things that you would enjoy with your partner or your family member or your kids or something. It's something that you would do, right? Like ordering these streaming programs. Yeah, so why don't you just watch a movie through one of these? Yeah, so instead of like taking yourself out and sitting in the cinema alone, I just think that gives a wrong message. And, after what I told you about my experience in uni, I think that it was not such a good choice. Okay, so you know what? Finally, just remember this, okay? So the key is to not do something you won't do if you had a partner. So whenever you're in doubt, right? So you're in doubt whether this is constituting taking yourself out on a solo date. Just remember, is this something that your partner would want you to do if you had a partner? You know what I mean? So for someone who had actually a partner in their life, I believe that they would not be going to the movies alone. Yeah, well, I guess unless if you were an old person, then sometimes like old people, like they have different schedules. Like they may, I mean, they have different preferences for movies. Like they would actually, I know some old people that they would go to watch individual movies alone. Like even if they had a partner. Yeah. Okay. So we're not talking about that. Okay. So like, what about you? Okay. So if you had a partner, would you do that? Okay. If you had a partner, would you be traveling alone? I don't think so. Yeah, you would be traveling with a bunch of friends, maybe, if your partner was not free or something. Like you would be traveling probably with some family or some friends. Or okay, so if you couldn't find someone who's free to go travel with you, don't be like that girl I just talked about who spent 10 years doing that. But I think that towards the end, like for some more exotic places, she did join a tour, right? She joins those tours that take you, with a tour guide and stuff, right? Okay, so for a single person, don't join family tours where you're the only single person. Like you're filled with couples or people on their honeymoon or people with kids and stuff. I don't think you would enjoy that very much, right? Like you would probably be like really like the odd one out, and it would remind you of something that you're not a part of. Yeah, I don't think that would serve you like very well. I think so. I think if there are those singles cruises or single tours, like providing that they're safe, right, or legit. I think you should join those. If you really want to go travel, you can't find someone to do it with you. Rather than doing it like alone, like maybe you can join one of those singles tours. Yeah, again, providing that it's safe. Yeah, rather than doing it alone. Okay, so I've given you enough examples of this, of like what not to do and why not to do it, okay? So next time, like if you're really, really tempted, you see those videos online and you're really tempted to jump on the bandwagon of taking yourself out on a solo date, don't be tempted to do it. Don't do it if your goal is to find a partner, okay? And, you know, having many views and likes is not worth putting your love life on the line. Just remember that. Yeah, so, you know, in replacement of that, like, do the things that I told you to do to give off a completely different vibe, like a much more positive and anticipating new relationship sort of vibe, rather than like a staying single vibe, if your goal is to manifest your partner. Right, okay, so thank you so much for being here. Next week, I will continue with the do's of manifestation. So stay tuned. Remember to subscribe to Love and Life Sorted so you don't miss an episode. And follow us on IG if you want to see more fun stuff. If you haven't subscribed to my free newsletter, please do so, because in this latest newsletter, I will be talking about manifestation. So if you want to continue our conversation outside of the podcast and learn more about it, remember to subscribe. Right, okay, so see you all next week. Bye!